Yeah, thank you very much and welcome everybody. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers, of course, for giving me the chance just to report to you briefly about what we are doing in Germany and Saxony if it comes to our SaxoCell cell and gene therapy cluster. Just to briefly introduce myself, so as you heard already, I'm the head of the Executive Department, Business Development and Patent Management at the Fraunhofer Institute for Cell Therapy and Immunology. And as most likely most of us will do, I'm wearing several hats. So I'm also affiliated with our SaxoCell cell and gene therapy cluster. I'm also affiliated with the recently established Fraunhofer Center for Digital Diagnostics and a number of further activities and initiatives of Fraunhofer and of other entities. And in addition to that, it's pretty clear to me actually that I'm one of only a very few persons standing between you and lunchtime. So I promise I will do my very, very best just to keep the time, not to exceed the speaking time, and to give you at least a very brief overview about what we are doing under the SaxoCell umbrella. So just let us start with the mission statement. So just to answer your very first question, what the hell is SaxoCell at the end? So primarily, are we just a kind of a cluster with partners from the university area. So one of our local universities just became core members of our cluster. Fraunhofer, from the applied research side of life, joined the cluster, and we also do have very large hospitals and industry partners on board. And we all share the same vision and the same mission, which is just to develop efficient, safe, and in particular affordable autologous and allogeneic cell and gene therapies. And you know how the current status of the cell and gene therapy landscape looks like. So there's a multitude of efforts ongoing globally to develop even more innovative, highly sophisticated cell and gene therapy approaches. However, most of them share the same problem. They are incredibly expensive, right? And we all know it certainly belongs to the nightmare of our regulators, of our governments, and of our public health funds that sooner or later one of these incredibly expensive cell and gene therapies will reach the market attempting to treat a very large solid tumor indication like breast cancer, colon cancer, others, as this would result in the immediate need for all our health insurance companies just to file bankruptcy at the end, right? So it wouldn't simply work. So that's the reason why we will be focusing with our efforts, in particular, as I said already, on making these new ATMPs affordable for the society. And what does that mean? This means that we are focusing while doing research and development on new ATMPs on implementing automation and process optimization expertise and know-how already at a very, very early, even academic stage of development, right? Just to help our academic inventors and developers, so to say, with the development of, as I said already several times, affordable ATMPs. And our strategy is, as it is given on the slide, just to bring together excellent fundamental basic research, applied research, and industry resources and expertise, and we all share the pretty ambitious goal to become not only the German, but maybe even a European lighthouse for cell and gene therapy. And the funding key facts are, so we enjoy a quite generous funding by the German Federal Ministry for Science and Education. So we are among the winners of the German Clusters for Future initiative, and now we are entitled to receive up to 50 million euro for a period of time up to 10 years. This is nothing compared with the recent funding rounds of biopharma companies we all know, but from an academic perspective, this is at least a little bit money you can do something with. Okay, so I discussed already briefly our activity areas. So we all know there is a huge clinical need for advanced, for better, for safer, and for, in particular, affordable cell and gene therapies. And we mainly are, attempting to realize activities in three main areas. First of all, under the umbrella of SaxoCell, we are pursuing a number of R&D projects. I will introduce you to some of them with the next few slides. Second, we also got a very clear obligation as set by the German government just to help Germany, to keep pace with the development in the innovative cell and gene therapy area, and also to make sure that Germany is in a competitive position compared with other regions of the world. So we also will have to, and are working on, just to facilitate further investments into the cell and gene therapy industry sector in Germany, and in particular in Saxony. And last but not least, we are working together with our partners on the development and implementation of new processes, of new methods, of new concepts, and sometimes for the automation of the large-scale production. And this, at the end, shall result in successful clinical application for the sake of the patient. So these are just examples of ongoing R&D projects under the umbrella of SaxoCell. So what you can clearly take from this slide is that we are doing more or less everything. So this actually didn't really happen accidentally. So this is part of our strategy. So we are, when we selected the projects for funding, were we actually trying to maintain an extremely wide scope and to include an extremely wide scope of cell and gene therapy modalities. So you can see from the slide that we are working on genetically modified regulatory T cells. As a matter of course, we do have autologous and allogeneic CAR-T approaches under development. We are establishing new CAR-NK platforms. We are working on genetically modified macrophages, on combined ATMPs, and at the end, we are also addressing the holy grail within the cell and gene therapy landscape. We also are working on in vivo reprogramming and designer recombinases. And all these efforts are just obtaining support from a number of platforms that we also established in our cluster in parallel. And these platforms are addressing clinical development needs, automation, process optimization needs, and omics and other technologies for better patient stratification and companion diagnostics. So this is just, these are just examples of what we are doing. And with this slide, we would like to briefly report to you what we did over the past few months. So starting on the upper left side, so we were extremely happy just to create in Saxony with Seamless Therapeutics a local spin-off in the gene editing area, also enjoying a quite generous seed funding from venture capital side, and the company will be focusing on further development and commercialization of a gene editing platform based on programmable precision designer recombinases. The picture below is just showing you our next potential spin-off founder team. So this is the scientific team behind our XMAC project, focusing on the genetically modified macrophages. They just in March this year won a very prestigious prize in a venture competition in Germany, and we are in the process of preparing together with them for the creation of the spin-off company and a successful start into a bright future for the company, of course. Yeah, we attended the SaxoCell symposium, or we realized a SaxoCell symposium at the BioEurope. The reason why I'm mentioning the BioEurope conference is certainly not that I'm getting paid by the EBD conference organizers. No, not at all. In fact, the BioEurope took place in Leipzig, what is our hometown, and I don't know who of you had a chance just to visit and to enjoy Leipzig while visiting the BioEurope. So it was for Leipzig and for our entire community in the cell and gene therapies in Saxony. It really was a remarkable event, and we were more than happy just to have the entire life science community can welcome them in Leipzig. So it was a great event. And on the scientific side of life, we just wanted to congratulate one of our PIs who received a prestigious scientific prize for innovative cancer research in February this year. And just the pictures on the right side show you that we are doing our very best just to increase the visibility, the global visibility of our SaxoCell cluster. We were attending the ISCT conference, just for example, in San Francisco last year, and also had a number of very good meetings there. So And with the next 2 slides, I would like to give you a few more facts without talking too long about some of our collaboration opportunities. As a matter of course, we started with our cluster and with all the R&D programs just at the end of 2021. So most of our projects still are in pretty early development phase, what might be too early and too immature just to seek already commercialization partners. Nevertheless, a few projects reached already a more mature status. So among them is our polymeric nanoparticle platform developed by our collaboration partners at the University of Leipzig. We demonstrated with pretty convincing data that this platform is very well suited to facilitate, to mediate the delivery, the efficient delivery of small and large, in particular RNAs, to a number of cell types, including difficult to transfect cells. And at the time being, are we just looking for collaboration partners to further develop technology and to realize the commercialization of this technology. A next example project is our NK cell project with the name NK4 Therapy. So the name is the program, I guess. What we are developing here is just an entirely new NK cell-based treatment approach based on the discovery made by a scientific group at the Technical University in Dresden of a specific population of NK cells, which is featuring remarkable advantages compared to other NK cell populations. And in addition to just identifying and making usable this specific NK cell population, did the TU Dresden group also develop a new and much more efficient compared to currently existing processes, manufacturing processes also based on genetically modified fetal cells, which help to overcome one of the currently existing hurdles, which we all know exist in the NK cell area. So there are still some steps to go. There is still a certain way to go, I would say, in order to further progress with the project. And at the time being, are we just seeking partners for further development and commercialization. And last but not least, macrophages for solid tumor treatment, just another excellent idea, I think. So what we have developed here and also protected, IP protected, of course, are genetically modified and iPSC-derived macrophages that are also, how to say, overcoming one of the major hurdles in macrophage development. So we all agree, I think, that macrophages could represent a very good opportunity just to address the solid tumor treatment challenge. However, most of the current approaches are simply limited by facing problems with the ex vivo and vitro expansion of macrophages, right? So, and this is what we successfully addressed by introducing specific genetic modifications to macrophages, and then we were able to demonstrate that we now can generate just sufficient amounts of macrophages in order to develop a macrophage-based cell and gene therapy product out of that. And yeah, the company or the scientific group still is in the pre-spin-off phase, I think. We currently are seeking funding for the startup foundation, which is planned to happen towards the end of this year. And whenever this or the previous project are of interest for you, please do not hesitate just to contact me or my colleague Paul Starz at any time. We'll be happy to answer your questions, to try answering your questions, or to bring you in contact with the scientists. Yeah, almost last slide. So Saxony, the landing pad for innovative ATMP developers. So whenever you are just having the intention to expand your activities in Europe, or when you are based in North America or wheresoever, you would have the intention just to start with activities in Europe, please just consider the simple fact that Saxony is the place to be for innovative cell and gene therapy companies. We think this is true for a number of reasons, among them the simple fact that we do have a very well-developed ATMP infrastructure, what is including one of Europe's largest GMP facilities for large-scale manufacturing. We do have in Saxony a very high availability of well-trained staff, but also is addressing the currently upcoming bottleneck for qualified GMP staff. So this is something what we can deal with pretty good, at least at the time being in Saxony. Low cost of living, high quality of living in contrast to that, and even for doing quite moderately well from a passenger point of view, we do have a pretty large international airport in Saxony. And that's basically it. Thank you for your attention. I reached the end of my speaking time. Whenever there are any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at any time. It was a pleasure, and good luck to you all.